Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, welcome to TFYLP, episode 504. We're live tonight, what is it, Wednesday, November 16th. I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Anna.
Good evening.
And Paul.
Hi.
And Catherine.
Hello.
And Phil.
Not ever Destron.
Never?
You can just pick that up, right?
Well, I'm just saying I'm not Destron.
Oh.
No, you've never met.
You said not ever Destron.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
know.
ever Destron.
Well, I take that as
Never
Destron.
Opposition?
Destron suck.
Nemesis,
no.
yeah.
Nothing
yeah.
wrong with Destron. I'm just not him.
No, I think we have a show nemesis now. We have an official rivalry.
He and I were each taking turns trying to murder the other person in their sleep at TFCon.
Yeah.
Or is
was-
that where our rivalry began? Is when we shared the room at TFCon. But that's where our
Yes.
hatred was fermented.
You found out how awful each of the other one was.
Yeah, weirdo likes grape nuts.
I
What
was
do you even get
speaking more in the
grades?
general Destron, not
I had
a
a hard time
specific
finding
person.
it at the grocery store because apparently in the last 30 years since I ever bought grape nuts, they changed the box design, so I couldn't figure out what the heck they look like. And of course, they're on the bottom shelf.
Yeah, easy access for children.
I have not opened
Look what
mine
I
yet.
was
Oh,
playing
look at
with.
you.
I was playing
Anna.
with the same thing Paul was. It's like we're the same person.
Anna, how could you get that? Don't you already have 500 sound waves?
I sold my only Shattered Glass Soundwave at TFCon
Oh,
because I knew I was getting this one.
there you go. Was that one actually more
It's like-
expensive than this?
No, because I got it when it first came out, so I got it for a cheap price, and I sold it without the cassettes because I wanted to keep the cassettes because this particular version of Shattered Glass Ravage is fantastic, and the one that comes with this is awful. So. But yeah, I got one of my
so
new
what do
age
you think
ones.
of the
I didn't really
new-
like it.
I mean, we're on Microcasters 2.0, right? So we can sit there and review Soundwave.
This is a question we were talking about in the Discord, Paul. Does yours have annoyingly ratcheted shoulders?
No.
Does it go from flat to 45 and nothing in between?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Don't they all? I mean, I assume they all the sound waves are like that. I don't know. I just
Sound
I just
Blaster
packed away
wasn't.
6 of them. I could have tested that, but now they're very far away. Maybe this is a
This is
downfall
my
of
first-
the Earthrise mold that everyone thinks.
Yeah,
is
this
so
is
special.
my first time with Earthspark, as we call it, which it isn't.
Well, it is.
What is Phil doing off camera?
I thought my Earthrise Soundwave was readily available and I could grab him and check his shoulders, but he's not.
I still think
Taking a
the
bunch of noise.
tape butt is funny because it's also on his front.
Right.
Yes.
The head is
Yeah.
great. The head is worth the price of admission here. I mean, that's the new mold.
Yeah.
That's always been a problem. It's always been a problem with Shatterglass Soundwave is do you tie something to his head or what? Because it's never molded, but they did a really good job here. There you go.
Yeah, so you're right, Anna. The Earthrise Netflix one does have that. It
Okay.
goes from to go up to 90 degrees. There's no real motion issue, but then to go from 45 to 0, it's just all or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a real fan of that. It's just weird. It's like it's not going to really affect my enjoyment of the toy. It just feels uncomfortable compared to the usual.
This is a worthless gripe, and the only reason you didn't know about it before is because you didn't have the first version, because you're snoozing.
That is correct.
Well,
everyone else in the Discord is the same.
I had the first version, but I don't think I really necessarily noticed it. I don't know, but I'm also not sitting there messing with the arms back and forth constantly. So
it's a non-issue.
Like, it transforms. I put on shelf. I'm done. That's what you do. So of course,
right.
I mean, I played with that toy quite a bit. I never noticed the shoulder. Like, it just doesn't compute to me, I guess.
Right. Sound Blaster doesn't have that problem.
Well, he's
no, Sound Blaster didn't have that problem.
Yeah, because he's the other mold. Clearly, they made, whether intentional or not, they made a change to that shoulder joint.
I actually didn't realize how many differences there were with the mold. I thought it was a lot more similar, but it's pretty different.
Almost like it's an Earthrise version versus the Siege version.
But it's not, because it wasn't an Earthrise.
It was. They even called it Earthrise Soundwave when they revealed it as the Netflix toy.
But then
same thing with Bumblebee.
Then it was just a Netflix toy. Did the Netflix toys actually say Earthrise on them? I don't remember that. I thought they all said Siege.
They didn't say. They said War for Cybertron. That's what they said.
Okay, they didn't say nothing on them.
Well, it's a different line. It's kind of like Velocitron
Hot
now.
Link just says War for Cybertron trilogy.
Yeah, the Velocitron toys are legacy toys. They're just, they're put down a separate channel underneath legacy.
I get it.
They will now be legacy evolution.
What
Phil? What?
I just sold something on eBay.
Oh, good. Is it something big?
Is it
is
it a unicorn?
Hey, way to go.
I just sold my unicorn on eBay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Yay!
Let's drink!
Yeah. Cheers to that. Now I gotta...
If you weren't getting a tax statement from them before, you're getting it now.
Oh, yeah.
Did you keep the shipper box?
I did not.
Oh! Well, you'll figure
it. Yeah, that got discarded at TFCon.
I feel bad for whoever you're shipping it out with. Is that going to be post office or UPS or what?
I'm going to do UPS or FedEx.
I can try to help you out with that later if you want.
Yeah, I'll take any tips.
There you go.
I actually might have some boxes that are close to being big enough. I don't know. We bought some deck furniture over the summer, and we still have those boxes.
Oh, jeez.
I was going to say you'd have to go buy a refrigerator real fast.
Just be careful of packaging that. I mean, that'd be a hell of a return from eBay, right? If you had any kind of issues with that, my God.
I got pictures in the listing from all angles of it, so...
Every time I've shipped one of those, I say a prayer to a God I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can fund the Deathsaurus, right?
Oh, I've already funded the Deathsaurus. And who posted today? Like, I saw surgeon numbers yesterday, and someone posted, I don't know if it was from Hasbro Official or whatever, that's like, we got numbers in from Mexico. That's where the new 2,000 orders just came from.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is Mexico, I wonder who's taking orders from Mexico.
Probably just retailers.
Right,
yeah.
Los Pulse?
Yeah, I mean... That's what happened with Victory Saber, too. That's a big part of the surge, and that's what happened with Unicron, amongst other nefarious potential things. But, these are available at wholesale prices if you're at a certain level of retailer.
Right.
These are not offered through regular... This is like Hasbro Direct. Anyone that buys direct from Hasbro can purchase these things.
Man, now I can afford to buy my kids Christmas presents.
There you go.
You can get them the new Earthspark toys.
Well, not for Christmas.
Yeah, not for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's a segue. No, Catherine was making a segue.
Wait, oh, there's a
the
segue.
title of our
Hey,
episode
look.
tonight is Spark.
All the rest. And all the rest. So this is the rest right here.
That's a terrible title. It's like vagaries.
Hey, you know what? If you want, I can outsource the title selection to you. If you want, and you can run with it. Just let me know.
Every title will have poop in it.
Yes, there you go. That'll be better. So yeah, so I guess we're gonna touch on Earthspark a little bit. I don't know how many episodes that you guys have actually watched so far. If you've been
tonight should have been Earthspark: It's not poop.
There you go. But like the first thing I kind of want to touch on with that is, so I don't know like how much it got sold to Nickelodeon for or Paramount or whatever to be on Paramount Plus, right? But like I feel like if this is trying to showcase Hasbro like with their toys and everything, like I don't know what kind of plan they've got going on there, because one, I guess the first 2 episodes were on Nickelodeon, right? Like premiered there, but the rest of it you got to sign up for a streaming service, Paramount Plus, to watch it, right?
So are they not showing it as a Nickelodeon cartoon at all? Not as a weekly thing?
Well, in the future, perhaps, I don't know. But as of right now, no. It's on Paramount Plus. The first 2 episodes,
I remember,
like the combined one was.
I remember 8,000 years ago, they did that with Star Trek Discovery. It made me not watch Star Trek for the next 5 years afterwards because it kept going to Paramount Plus. Because they showed the first 2 episodes on TV. So I was like, oh, it's going to be out every week on this time slot. I'm so excited for new Star Trek. And it was like, no, guess what? Buy our streaming service. No. I hope they're not doing that with kids shows.
Maybe this
would be
is like
awful.
Maybe this isn't, an older person thing to be like, oh, it's on at a specific time. I get to watch it. Like, I mean,
like you're saying, though, making it free for kids. Like, this is something that's supposed to be toy marketing. The show is supposedly aimed at kids. So said my husband when I told him I was going to watch it. So, I mean, it just feels weird to pay gate something that is targeted to the kid audience.
Well, they do that a little bit now, too. I think HBO Max has, like, Sesame Street, which is, like, it's still on PBS, right? But, like, the newer ones, I think, are... I think there's, like, a time exclusivity for Sesame Street now.
They are very much trying to appeal to the parents with these as well, though.
That's true.
Well, I think a lot of streaming services in general, like having kids myself, that, you pay for that so that way you don't have to deal with commercials. So, like, my kids just don't watch regular broadcast TV, really. I mean, they're watching more Netflix or YouTube and things like that, which YouTube still has ads, but I guess it's not, I don't know. I think a lot of parents, you do that, and so then you're picking various streaming services. So that's where I think that sometimes they want to put this children's programming on there. So you're going to go, oh, I'll pay the $5, or I don't know how much Paramount Plus is, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
5 or 10.
They would much rather you pay a subscription to watch it than give it to you for free. That's the answer.
Yeah. But from Hasbro's standpoint, if they're using it to help promote a toy line, it's not great. That's what I'm saying is like from Nickelodeon's standpoint and Paramount's standpoint, it's great for them. It can help, if it converts some people to doing Paramount Plus, then, that's fantastic. But for Hasbro, it's not.
So how far have you guys watched into it so far? Like part 1 and 2?
I've only been able to find the first one on YouTube.
Yeah, so that would be part 1 and 2.
No, I've only watched the first.
It's like a 45-minute episode.
Oh, that's
that's 2
episodes. 1 and 2.
Okay, great. Then I've seen the first 2.
Okay.
Yeah, It's weird how they call it episodes 1 and 2 because nowhere is it actually split into 2 episodes. The YouTube video is one, and the on Paramount Plus it is actually just one file, but they call it episodes 1 and 2 because it's a 45-minute episode.
Whatever. I mean,
it's there to tease you and entice you and get you to subscribe to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, so it sounds like everyone here no one here's finished it unless Phil has. He's gone. Catherine and I are on 4.
He has Paramount Plus, so there's a chance he's watched ahead. I don't know if him and his boys are watching it, but he'll be back to tell us that in 20 minutes.
Before we dive in too much with it, the other thing I was going to mention is, if Hasbro is actually using this to try to sell some toys, luckily I can go straight down to my local discount store like Target or Walmart or wherever and pick up those Earthspark toys, right? It's coming into Christmas season, right?
Come on,
so
you know they can't get this stuff right ever. It's impossible. Like the timelines for building, a marketing show never coincide with the timelines for building the toys. It just there's a chance they might come out in December. There's a chance.
Yeah, I don't understand this, Paul, because when I happened to peruse the aisles of Target tonight looking for those Earthspark toys, you know what I saw?
Cyberverse.
Well, I did see Cyberverse, yes. Which, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really even matter at this point. Like, just pick up Cyberverse, I guess. But
you saw NPM Blackout. You saw The Fallen.
No. So
you saw Ironhide.
What I was gonna say is that for the Black Panther, the new movie, right? Like those toys are out on shelves right now, right? So they can somehow time it.
Yeah, because they're fucking dolls, Lucas. They take 5 minutes to make instead of 2 years.
Right, but like you're telling me they couldn't have already planned this out, like with the release of the show, and have it in time for Christmas?
I bet they could release that Skywarp toy that's the same damn toy from Cyberverse.
Right, exactly. Put the new packaging.
Or the Shockwave that's a slight repaint. There's a few things that they could have got out there.
It's just a tired argument. I mean, Hasbro's stock price is already really low right now. You don't need to kick them while they're down. Come on.
Yeah,
there are Hasbros. They're working for us. They're just, they can't get it right all the time.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a bummer, though.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's very difficult for transfer. I don't know about. You're right that Marvel seems to be able to get it right. So does the He-Man toys were out pretty close around the release on Netflix. The thing is, I think those toys take a lot less time to go from like concept to finish, and so when your timeline for creating the toys is that long, the studios don't adhere to those timelines. They're like, well, we are on our own, and they work agnostic. They do their best, I'm sure, but they're not going to delay the release of a show that they've spent a year and a half building because the toys aren't going to be out for. Also, toys don't have release dates because you never know when they're going to arrive from overseas. So it's a moving target, I think. And as it gets closer to release, they know, but it's like, oh, we know it's going to be. These toys will be on shelf in 6 months, and they're like, well, we're ready to. The show's ready, so we're launching the show.
And I know, obviously, like especially these days with post-COVID and whatever, like all the shipping stuff's kind of messed up, so you couldn't guarantee anyway. It's just it's a little frustrating that like those aren't on shelves like in time for Christmas. Is what I'm saying.
It's entirely possible and maybe even probable that when the toys do come out, they'll run the show again. Like that's when they'll run it on Nickelodeon. They'll try to actually put those two things together at that point.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it'll be streaming, so it'll be out there. Obviously, I think the best thing to happen is have the toys come out like 2 weeks before the premiere. That would be the best. But like that is such a small, narrow thing to happen when when the first sighting of Studio Series Ironhide in whatever state happens, it still takes a month for it to be at every target in the country. So like even then, it depends on where you are. So it's just a really difficult thing to get done from a logistics standpoint.
I'm trying to remember, season 1 of Cyberverse, was it out at the same time as the toys? Did they actually line it up pretty decently?
I want to say those toys came out early. Like a month.
I think they did.
Especially, they came out in Europe like way early, like in the UK. That's where they first. And then everyone's like, "These are awful."
Right.
Then no one was happy.
Yeah.
But these look better. These look a step up. At least they have deluxe class like coming right in the beginning.
Well, the thing I was gonna say about the Cyberverse, because I do remember that I had like another dad asking me about the Cyberverse toys and like what to get or whatever because his kids were into the show, and so that's where I was trying to think that like I remember they were on the shelf at the time, but I don't recall like whether or not they got into it like right during season 1 or if it was later in the show run. So
there's also a lot of Cyberverse toys, like lots. I don't know if Earthspark's going to have as many toys as Cyberverse did. We wouldn't know yet.
I mean, it's hard to say. It depends on like how long the show runs, because I feel like Cyberverse, I think, went longer than what we originally thought it was going to, and I think what Hasbro thought they were originally going to do.
And Cyberverse put a lot of fantastic new fiction into the franchise. It was a really fun show.
It did.
And it took some nice new twists and tried some new things, just like Earthspark is doing.
Yeah,
right.
Whole new ways.
Yeah, all I said when I was muting, I was agreeing with you, Catherine, and I was just gonna say it's very. It doesn't get the respect it deserves from a writing perspective, and just like that was where the interesting storytelling was happening in Transformers at the time. And everyone was busy watching the really boring War for Cybertron show instead.
I know,
they were
a
both
bummer.
good in their own ways.
Disagree, but
yeah. But the one thing though about that Netflix show, and that's the thing that kind of stinks, is like I wish this Earthspark show was on Netflix instead of for Nickelodeon, because the fact that like I do think it gets promoted better on Netflix, like even on the Paramount Plus, when you go in there, it's a little bit hard to find. I mean, like it's still like you kind of have to scroll a little bit, yeah. Like whereas I feel like Netflix, when it drops on there, it's like, oh, it's number whatever and trending.
So even though when I registered for Paramount Plus for the trial to watch it, I picked it as one of my 3 like shows I'm interested in, it still did not populate on the front page of my account. It was like, no, we're not going to show you Earthspark. We're going to show you a bunch of like NCIS shows. That's what you want to watch. That is not what I want to watch. I want to watch cartoons about robots.
So
but
what
I guess
did you guys
get into? I guess we could get into the actual content. I think that's what Catherine was about to do.
So what did you guys think of it?
The first thing that had me go, oh, was Hardtop. To me, that was the because I didn't know he was going to be in the episode. I'd been spoiled a little bit on like Skull Cruncher and stuff. I didn't know the Insecticons were going to be in it, but Hardtop was as a crusty old fan, that was enough for me to kind of like get excited, even though he's like totally unremarkable in any way. It's just nice to see when they throw in a weird guy like that. It's just kind of fun. Like I'd rather him than that be like Barricade or something, like something we're kind of used to. It's nice to see. It's nice to see your like history of fandom pay off like that, I guess, in a new show.
That's true.
Much?
And also,
not a lot, but he was there.
Lucas?
Also, it's nice to have a character that's a little more of a blank slate. I was just gonna say, with Hardtop. Like, we don't really know who he is, so that's nice too.
Yeah, and it's the visual. It's like, oh, like this whatever was burned in my, character designs are just burned in my brain. I don't necessarily remember who they are. I wasn't even sure if that was really his name, and it took me a minute to figure it out. But then I was just like, yeah, go get him, guy.
So I was gonna say, you can really tell the production value and money in this show comparative to a lot of the other things coming out. Like, I mean, I think that it was, it's really well done. I think some of the 3D animation was pretty good.
And proper 20-minute episodes again, not 10.
Well, I feel like we even haven't had that in so long, and even getting that 45-minute, chunk total that first episode. So, but yeah, I was gonna say that it actually kind of hooked my kids. They watched the first couple episodes with me, and so that's what I haven't been binging it, just because they're like, "Oh no, we want to watch it with you," and so I kind of have to wait for them to to kind of see more of the show. But I was also gonna say, Alita 1, is she kind of like the, it seems like she's been really popular in a lot of the shows now. Is she pretty much gonna a mainstay at this point?
I don't know. I was surprised to see her again so soon after Siege Flicks.
I'm liking this version of her though. She's a lot of fun. Very punchy.
She's different.
Yeah, how about that wheel move she did? Like her roller skates, that was dope.
Mm-hmm.
The action seems like pretty good.
Yeah, the first fight scene was actually impressive. When I saw it, I was like, oh, fight scenes are going to be good in this. That's cool.
And I've been somewhat spoiled. I mean, it's by seeing it. I saw another fight scene someone clipped and put on Twitter that was also even better. And I was like, whoa. And they did cool stuff that you've never seen the Transformers do. That's always cool when new writers get a hold of it and just aren't beholden to things that have happened before and do some cool moves that you've never seen. Like in the Bumblebee movie, when, I mean, this is a spoiler, but the movie's old, right? Like when Bumblebee uses the chain on Dropkick and kills him that way by getting him all tangled up and he transforms and rips apart. Never seen that, but it's a totally logical thing that could happen to these transforming robots. Love to see the fresh take on stuff. It's always cool.
I want to welcome our Phil replacement, since Phil seems to have walked away and just left us with a view of his collection, which is nice. We now have Christian.
What up?
There you go. Christian, how's it going?
It's fine. Sorry, my roommate had company.
Yeah.
They left to go partying, though, so now I'm here with you guys.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about Earthspark.
Yeah, Paul mentioned spoilers. It's all spoilers for me. I haven't seen any of it.
Too much into spoilers with the show, just because it did just drop and a lot of people haven't seen too much of it, so...
Also, none of us have seen all of it, so we wouldn't be very good with spoilers anyway.
We have been negligent so far in not mentioning what the chat has already been discussing. Megatron and his the new take on Megatron overall.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's very cool.
I like having a Megatron in a role where he actually gets to have dialogue and character development. It doesn't have to be a side flipping Megatron, but it always is when he gets to have character development. But it's nice to see from the beginning.
Well, would anyone like to explain the thing with Megatron? What is so...
Well, is that
She's nice.
Well, we're talking about it, but not saying it.
I mean,
so if no one knows...
No. The first 2 episodes isn't spoiling. It's publicly available. It's on YouTube. Yeah. Megatron's an Autobot.
Well, is he an Autobot? Because really, his little
He's
symbol... His symbol is still a Decepticon.
They were dead the whole time.
Decepticon.
It kind of reminds me of Liam Neeson.
Reminds me of the Hound for some reason. but they're Ghost. That is the new like human robot alliance team. It's called Ghost. Seems pretty ominous to me, but
spooky.
That's what that symbol is.
Right, but if you look at the symbol, like I swear, for the Autobots, there's a tiny little Autobot symbol in there, and then for Megatron, doesn't he have a tiny little Decepticon symbol inside the Ghost symbol?
No, he just has his normal. Doesn't he just have his normal Decepticon symbol? I thought.
I didn't think so. I thought it was the Ghost and then the Decepticon.
So why is he hanging out with Ghost?
Well, he's a big fan of Optimus now.
Why?
So the war's over. So the way the plot's set up, the war happened. The war started in '84, and it's now. So the war's been over for a while. And
all right.
In the resolution of the war, Megatron switched sides. We don't know how yet, but
it's pretty crazy.
Seems to be what happened. He even had a human partner.
He's even beaten up his own old buddies, the Decepticons. Swindle, but I don't remember if it was Swindle or Hardtop, but they kind of like exchanged some words about it.
Right.
Swindle really anybody's buddy ever in any continuity?
Not usually.
Himself.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not Megatron's buddy, that's for sure.
Confirmed for me. There is a small Decepticon symbol in the Ghost symbol. So
hey,
some of the other Decepticons that were not associated with Ghost had just a regular Decepticon.
They just have their normal, icons.
So, I do have a funny story about Megatron, right? So we're watching the show, and he transformed into like whatever aircraft thing that he had, helicopter, I guess, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever thing it is. And so anyway, he transforms into it, and my kid goes, "Wait, Dad! Like he's supposed to be a tank. Like Megatron's a tank. He's not, like an aircraft carrier or whatever, right?" And I just thought it was hilarious because I was like, "Well, Alex, when I was a kid, Megatron was a gun, not a tank." And so, but to him, all the versions that he's ever seen has been a tank. So he's like, it's like blowing his mind that it could have a different mode.
Yeah, it's been a bit since he was anything but a tank.
Yep.
Nice to see some change.
Not a tank, but just not a thing. Animated helicopter.
Yeah.
I like this forward.
Yeah.
I like this forward post-war, more post-war progression, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's move on to something else now.
Yeah, it's nice because war doesn't really work great for a kids show. Honestly, even though the original series was during the war and also a kids show, but I think just having it be post-war is an interesting take for kids to see.
Is it better post-war than like Robots in Disguise? Not the show, but the book. I don't know. I feel like in the past when they've tried to do post-war stuff, it's always like very boring.
No, I mean this wasn't. I mean we don't necessarily.
I wouldn't
know
say it's
yet.
boring at all yet.
Yeah, no. I would definitely say, Christian, that compared to Cyberverse or just some of the ones where it's like hard to get into in the beginning, this is not like that. Like this is definitely something where it kind of pulls you in. As I had said before, that it's been one of the few times that my kids have actually been pulled in on a Transformers show.
I'm certainly interested. I've just been busy. That's all. It's not that I'm avoiding it.
I'm just going to keep linking you the link to the YouTube to watch the first 2 episodes until you do it.
I might have time tomorrow.
It's really good.
I'll just spam you.
I hate to say it, but worth getting Paramount for a month good.
My dad has it for Star Trek, so I just kind of piggyback off that.
There you go. But I will say that even though, like you all, most people of this call didn't really jump on Cyberverse, and most people I know into Transformers didn't really jump on Cyberverse. However, Cyberverse was that rare thing that people are always asking for. They're always asking for, I want a Transformers series without humans. And Cyberverse was all about robots, right? There were not humans showing up in the episodes. It was just robots being robots and doing robot stuff. This one has shifted back to Bumblebee is not the main character. Optimus Prime is not the main character. The kids are the main characters. The two human kids.
Did they keep the 11-minute episodes from Cyberverse, or are they like
No.
real episodes? Okay,
They're real
These
episodes.
are 23-minute traditional episodes.
cool. That's good, at least. It felt like I had ADHD trying to watch Cyberverse thing because it just kept starting and ending and starting, and I'm like, just have a cohesive thing. It made me very upset. But I'm an adult, not a child with a short attention span, so.
And I was mentioning to the others that the first 2 episodes are a 2-parter, right? But it's not actually a 2-parter. It's one file that's continuous. The YouTube video is one continuous file. There's no intro in the middle. And the Paramount Plus video is as well. And it looks like episodes 9 and 10 are the same, where it's just one conjoined longer story, where they want to tell a 45-minute story instead of a 22-minute story.
I know people ask for shows that don't have humans, and I might advocate for a show that only has barely one more human.
I'm normally very quick to jump on the anti-human train, but I really like these humans. Very rare, but they're good.
Yeah, they're cute. So instead of just getting, just the kid of any one family, we get an entire family this time around. That's a slightly different dynamic, right? It's not like mom and dad are just like side characters, like in the movies when we meet Sam's parents, but Sam's parents are just side characters. And when they were more featured in Revenge of the Fallen, it was a little bit of a disaster. So this is kind of nice to have, every one of the 4 family members portrayed seems to matter to the story. Well, they seem to be important, especially mom.
I think it's interesting too that the parents are fully aware of Transformers, like involved with the Transformers, all that type of thing, like, which is, kind of the opposite of a lot of the other shows where it's like the parents have no idea what's going on and it's always the kid that is, like doing the stuff or whatever. And like the parents are kind of almost the storytelling mechanism for some of the kids for the background where like, yeah, kids, like back when I was younger, like, the war in 84 kind of thing going on.
Because the mom was literally in the war. And that's an interesting dynamic. Just being like, she's a vet from the Transformers war.
And the dad is just a big fanboy.
I need to figure out where that dad went to school. Because from the promo material, he has a degree in Transformer studies, and that's the degree I would like to have, please. Call me Dr. Russell. It'd be great.
He appears to be a college professor, I think. His job hasn't come up, but he's talked about assignments, and people have called him doctor. So I think he's a college professor.
He's a doctor of Transformer studies. That's what I need to be.
I agree.
I'll found a school with Peter. We'll get accredited. It'll be great.
Sounds good to me.
I think I still prefer to teach psychology, but I could guest lecture sometimes for you.
Nice. You'd bring us actual academic cred.
Yes, I would bring an actual research.
I only have a bachelor's degree. What am I? Some dude.
Oh, man.
You'll be a doctorate in Transformers once you make up the degree.
Yeah, that's true. I'll make up the requirements, pass my own exams, publish my own thesis.
I am really looking forward to them following up on the storylines with the mom and Megatron.
Yeah, because we learned very quickly that they were partners in the war, military team partners. I'm mentally shipping them as
so
they have had a relationship.
Was a Decepticon?
No, it was after we switched sides.
Weird.
They were. Well, I guess we haven't specifically been told that they were on the good guy side together, but I think it's pretty heavily implied. It would be if she joined the Decepticons and was part of them losing the war. That would be a fun twist. I would like that.
Why would Megatron need a human partner at any point for any reason?
Because it's a child-friendly television show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
okay.
they seem to.
I'm willing to do that.
I think it's interesting because we're being introduced not only to a Megatron that's switched sides, we're being introduced to a Megatron that sincerely cares about someone. Like, you're very quickly introduced to a character that he obviously cares about a lot.
I'm intrigued.
It's just, it's cool.
I'll make some time.
You should.
Well,
you should.
I love too that Zaldron's like, are we sure, on some of the stuff? I was like, oh great, like the people in the chat have like seen all the episodes probably the first season, and so there's probably like a bunch of spoilers that they can throw out to us. So
You know what?
Oh
Chat
yeah,
people,
absolutely.
if you want to do that, you can have your own podcast about spoilers. We're doing the best we can here.
I did look at the wiki, and it lists the characters. I don't know if that's like for the whole season, but there were some that I hadn't seen yet. But it wasn't as many as I was expecting. I was expecting like a huge swath. So I'm hoping that there's still more.
We have a spoiler chat in the Discord right now. If anyone wants to join and talk about, the entire first season of 10 episodes, you can do that. I will not be looking at it until I finish it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a binge watcher. I know some people that I know finish the first 10 episodes in the first day. I'm not a binge watcher. 2 episodes at once is like, oh, I need a little nap. I need to go do something else for a minute.
yeah, I mean that's a thing. I don't really love the binge model either. Like I actually kind of enjoy the way that like Disney Plus has done their episodes with it's like some of the Mandalorian, Andor, and whatever. Yeah, because a lot of times I feel like it creates more hype to do it that way. Because you're like, oh man, did you see this week's episode of such and such, and so then. You kind of feel like you have to keep up so that you can talk about it with people. And now it's like, oh, all right, I just binged, 5 hours of a show.
I just heard the sound of a falling toy in another room, and
I heard that
cat's unaccounted for.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I think,
another cast member here.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. I think we are headed back to a weekly release schedule, even if it is on streaming. It's just better for business and better for the whole kind of mystique and zeitgeist of a show. Like
when
Andor,
you do it all at once, it's just content.
Yeah,
as opposed to being a show.
Speaking of which, Andor, after this, I'm watching Andor because that show is awesome. And the way they did it, they released the 3 episodes right away, and it really got me. It took the 3rd episode to get me, and now I'm like, this is like the best Star Wars show of all time. So, I think it works. It works better than it keeps people talking about it. It keeps it relevant for longer. It allows more time for the toys to come out. Lucas, right. So exactly. Binging had its moment. I think it's. I'm kind of over it.
Binging is still always going to be a thing for archival shows, and it always has been. If you're buying, the people who bought the DVD sets would often just watch 5 hours of them after they buy the DVD set, and I think the people who come into new series later will always be able to binge it. But I do like the weekly model better because it's more fun. Like, I'm really enjoying, I'm not going to start talking about it because it's a different kind of giant robot, but I'm really enjoying the new Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, and it's coming out once a week. I'm watching 1 episode with my husband, talking about it with my friends, keeping it in my mind. I'm going to be more attached to those characters because I'm watching them over a long time than I am to the characters from Earthspark, because I will probably have seen all of it by the end of this weekend. So I like that weekly model.
Well, and Ron mentions too that, that's extra time to be subscribed to, whatever streaming service it is. Because again, like Paramount Plus, I feel like I kind of am like you, Anna, where I just wait like for those Star Wars to come out, and then it's like, all right, I do my annual Paramount Plus, and binge all the Star Wars and Picard and whatever. So
Paramount does know how to do weekly. They released Halo that way. It didn't help it because it was garbage, but they do know how to do it.
I mean, yeah, the show has to be good.
It was really terrible, guys. Like, I don't know if you know this piece of me, but I really enjoy Halo and the lore of Halo. This was just the worst thing I've ever seen. I didn't even make it to the fourth. I think I watched 3 episodes, and I was like, I cannot do anymore. And I watched, YouTube the synopsis of the last ones. It got worse somehow.
We didn't
Don't
watch it for
Halo
that
on
reason.
Paramount Plus. Don't do it.
My husband really likes Halo, and we didn't watch it because we heard it wasn't great. So,
Terrible.
but
Don't do
anyway,
it.
we're talking about Earthspark. I'm trying to stay focused on the spark of Earth.
and all the rest.
So-
Remember, it's all the rest.
Yeah, all the rest probably is a Gundam and Halo, but
Well, yeah.
What's all the
anywho,
rest?
it's Lucas coming up with a name for tonight that wasn't necessary because we definitely can spend an hour on Cyberspark verse.
I don't know that I can spend an hour on Earthspark, but I'll try.
We're not far. We are 12 minutes from our hour, so
I've only been here like 10
we're getting
minutes.
there.
I
But
did have one
as-
grievance with the show. Sorry, Anna. Go ahead.
It's okay. You already cut me off. You stole my thunder.
Don't go ahead.
Fine. I was just going to say something I like about the show is that it starts off with and is continuing to have 2 brand new Transformers characters as the center of the story. Like, instead of just being another story with another guy named Bumblebee, Katie out with another lady named Windblade at the beginning, like Cyberverse was, who eventually hid out with another guy named Grimlock and another Optimus Prime. We actually have 2 all new characters who can be whoever they end up being as the main focus.
And they're cool
They're interesting so
characters.
far. They're interesting.
Interesting is good-ish.
They're
Good enough.
interestingly children, which is interesting. Like, to have children Cybertronians for basically the first time ever.
I mean, bots, but okay. I guess they're not
I still haven't
Cybertronians,
seen
but
Bot-Bots.
neither are your Earthspark guys.
They're Terrans.
They're Terrans.
Woo! They're
And all the
Terrans.
Bot-Bots are
And
good, I
they're
guess,
portrayed
man.
as kids, which is interesting. Just like like all the fun D&D races that are born adults. They kind of have that whole thing going of, hey, you were just born, but you can speak and you can walk and you can do things. Good luck with that.
Seems
So,
like a
Paul,
lot.
what was your grievance?
There's a scene in the beginning where the kids are running away from home on their bikes, and they go across a bridge, like a highway bridge, and they get in the middle of something, and they get knocked off the bridge and fall to their deaths, but survive, and that's where the story begins. And I was like, oh, they're dead, but they just like kind of bounce when they hit the ground. I was like, oh yeah, it's a kid's show, but it's a stupid thing to like. I
Kids
just
are
thought
tough.
it was funny. Yeah, they're tough. You're right. They're made of Jello. They don't break. But they literally fell like 8 stories.
Nah, they walked down a hillside.
I don't know. So I guess what I'm suggesting is perhaps this entire story is a near-death experience fever dream of the children.
Oh,
Kind of makes sense. It would kind of make sense. It's,
Maybe it just
Sure.
takes place in a world where physics stop happening sometimes.
Sure.
We'll say that's my favorite Garfield storyline of the last 800 years of Garfield. So, my canon.
The fever dream, pre-death fever dream.
Yep. The fever dream of someone who's the last survivor in an apocalypse. So this is like that now. It's head trauma for the children. Thanks, Paul.
Yay.
You ruined it.
A cat.
Success.
Hey, Phil's finally back. You're probably wondering,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
picked
Phil.
up an extra cast member while you're gone.
Yeah, no, I see Christian. I've met Christian. We've hung out.
Someone had to pinch hit for you while you were gone, so I'm here.
Yeah.
Ron says that you must be back from the post office, right?
No, I wish it was something that pleasant. No, just little my older son just being not a pleasant individual tonight.
Yeah. Max, what do you do?
Yeah.
That was great.
So
how many episodes have you gotten through, Phil?
I mean, if you count the first episode is kind of listed as a 2-parter, I think I've gotten through 2 more after that.
Okay.
So you're at the same place Catherine and I are.
Okay.
We're all at 4.
Yeah.
So after, for those of you who haven't watched it yet, after that first storyline, the episodes become more episode-y, where it's just like you can watch them out of order and it wouldn't be too bad. And they're just more fun little stories. Then the kind of grim, serious plot at the beginning. Right. At least for the first couple. It could get a little more serious afterwards. I don't think it will until the end, but that's okay. Because we need to spend time with these characters so that we like them, so that we buy toys of them. That's the point.
We do like toys.
This does make me want to buy toys.
I can tell you that it is making people buy toys, and specifically the new characters, Twitch and Thrash. That's good.
That's a question I want to ask everyone, and I want to keep asking them as they watch the show more. Do you now need those 2 characters to be a part of your collection? Because, with Cyberverse, like I said, with Bumblebee and Windblade being the main characters of the first season, you already had Bumblebee toys. You already had Windblade toys. You skip them both. Windblade never got a decent toy in that entire toy line anyway, so whatever. The furthest thing we got from a really new character in that first season was villains. We got Shadow Striker as a new character who also never got a decent toy. But now we're getting new characters from the get-go. You don't have toys from them. As Lucas pointed out at the beginning, you can't currently buy those toys. You can pre-order them.
This does feel a little bit like, Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope kind of thing, where it's like, hey, we got this new thing out. We'll get toys out for it eventually. So yes, the toys you can pre-order. I don't think anyone's going to be able to go and pick these up before Christmas kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know how this kind of stuff works in terms of the time frame. This is a show that has been discussed for a long time, it feels like, in terms of when we first got the announcement and first started to get some kind of trailers for it. So, I mean, just with everything going on these days with shortages of labor, supply chain blockages and pandemics still causing havoc in parts of the world. I don't know if their intention was to have these toys out and ready and when the show premiered, or if it's intentional that they wanted to kind of saturate for maybe a month or so before they get toys out. I don't know, but I will. Yeah, I from what I've seen, the Thrash toy is a warrior class and the Twitch toy is deluxe class, and I feel like I like the deluxe classes more than the warrior class. So I don't know. I would like a good version, a good toy of both Twitch and Thrash, and Twitch slightly less so, but certainly her character in the show is making me want to get her more.
Huh.
I'm the one who has a full shelf of the Cyberverse Deluxes over on that side of the room on a shelf that can't be easily seen from where I sat because they're not that great in some ways. And I feel like having gotten all of the Cyberverse Deluxes at one point, I feel a little burned by them, because the Cyberverse Deluxes were not reliable. The first few were actually pretty good, but then like Starscream and Soundwave, they were just not good toys when they finally came out. It was such a bummer because it seemed like they could have been cool, but
I like those deluxes. I think they're all good.
You like the Starscream where his head looks like he was on the wrong side of a Beetlejuice character?
Listen, you care about things most people don't. Okay? Everyone knows this, Anna.
Oh, yes, I care about aesthetics. Most humans just don't care about aesthetics. Nah.
Anna, you're weird.
It's like
at
everything
watching
be
quality
random.
toys.
Oh,
I
jeez.
I care about aesthetics, but that one flew over my aesthetic sensor. You know, it's just
A
like,
teeny tiny head. Oh, micro head.
yeah.
I still
I mean,
like their
you
screen.
complain about
Give it away.
Earthrise Prime. You know, like I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's
His
okay
legs do
that
go
you
up
have that
roughly
opinion.
to his rib cage, but you know.
I don't
Before
care.
TFCon, I had mentally earmarked that I was going to sell the vast majority of my Cyberverse Deluxe toys. And when it got down to actually like putting the toys in the bin and pricing them to sell, I was like, I think I put 3 of them in the bin and decided to keep all the rest I have. Now I don't have all of them. I have the first 8, and then Slag/Slug. The Triceratops Dinobot I have as well. So I never picked up Starscream or Soundwave or Prowl. But I think the only ones I tried to sell were Megatron, RC, and Thunderhowl. So yeah, the vast majority I decided to keep. I get what you're saying about feeling burnt out about them, because they do feel not as good of a quality of a toy as a Legacy Deluxe does.
Whether or not it was worse plastic, it was different plastic.
Yeah.
And they look strange standing by your other toys because they're different plastic.
Yeah.
Well, so was animated. You know, like that was different plastic than what we use now. It's just a different aesthetic.
Yeah, these aren't as nice as the animated toys were. Then that's a really high bar to catch up to.
It's also a decade apart. Like,
yes, yeah,
things are different.
Right, but the point is, like, I can't really set my animated toys beside my main Transformers either. Like, I really can't. They would look weird.
No, they
don't go.
You have to wait for your
But
Legacy
I wish the
animated
Cyberverse toys
toys.
went.
There you go.
You know, I wish the Cyberverse toys worked with other things, because, you know, like that Prowl, I think would be a really cool stand-in for an IDW Prowl, because he's more bulky and has the shoulder guns looking all fearsome, but he just looks kind of strange standing by my mainline toys.
I mean, I really wish that we were getting Voyager scales of some of these. Like Megatron should definitely be a Voyager. I want the level of detail that comes from the deluxe level toys, but I want them at a bigger scale, because what I've seen, I believe Megatron as a deluxe does not look great. Go ahead.
I've got to disagree with you on this one. I think these toys need to be kept cheap. They're meant for children, not us. These are their intro toys. They're meant to be just used for a year or so they get bored and tossed aside. It's to get them hooked on the franchise, not to give them the stuff of our quality.
Can I disagree with both of you and go somewhere in the middle? I think that's why they have the Warrior class stuff. Everybody can be Warrior class. No one cares. But then, you know, if you're going to have collector line price points like Deluxes, Voyager should go with those two.
I'm talking about Voyagers. Yeah, but it's just too big.
It's not like Voyagers are like a crazy price step up comparatively. And like in Cyberverse, they had like some of those the pricing on Cyberverse. Don't they? How much is that Optimus Prime thing that they have on shelves right now? The like bigger one.
Which one, Lucas?
Yeah, which one?
What are you talking about?
The one that's secret.
The Rise of the Best.
The Optimus that's secretly from Beasttown, USA.
Oh, that one's about it's 30. It's like a Voyager. This is like a Voyager price point, and it's a good toy. I recommend it. Even though it's simple, but it's
definitely
good.
a toy. Yeah,
but I feel
that's
like
good detail. You can definitely see the detail.
They were like higher price points.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There were the Cyberverse toys. They were different.
God, I wish I hadn't done half my work tonight. I had all this stuff at the ready. We'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, they have all those gimmick toys that are large. They're big. You know, they're like big, bulky. They don't. That's all they are. It's just big. They don't really. They have a presence, but they're essentially like slightly posable statues. You know, that.
Yeah. I got my son the Cyberverse Iaconus, and that toy is very disappointing. If you want like I have no idea what it's supposed to be when it transforms. In robot mode, it's kind of decent in terms of, like Paul said, just being nearly like a statue, just standing there. There's so many like action features built into it that even you start moving around and some of those action features start accidentally going off. So, to me, the way I would treat Earthspark would be the way the movies are treated, where you get a line of toys that is definitely more aimed for kids or for cheaper price points, and then you get some more the collectible level stuff that is you get some Voyager scales or maybe even a leader scale at some point. Again, that's how I would treat this, because I do think it's an entertaining show that from what I've seen so far appeals to both younger audiences as well as a older collector fan base. I think it's probably the best show to do that. I'd say probably since Prime. Maybe Prime didn't even skew this young. This probably skews and helps younger. Says maybe this is the best show to do that since animated.
I'd say that. I think if Cyberverse would have started with season 2, it would have done just as well. But I think because that season 1 just put off adult fans so bad that it just didn't really have much of a chance with adult fans after that, because we all get all grumpy too easy.
Yeah, and I know my son enjoyed Cyberverse a lot, but I don't know how important the human characters are to that, to have that human point of view. I know for us as being adult Transformers fans, we don't think the humans are important, but there's a reason they keep putting human characters in this stuff in almost every variation, because it is important to have that perspective. That's why
something I've been advocating for years is a Transformers the Humans line. So I like the humans.
Yeah. So I think Cyberverse lacking that, wasn't a huge detriment, but I think it didn't help. Cyberverse was sort of this, I don't know, at times almost felt like an afterthought kind of cartoon. It certainly had a good quality to it, but I don't think it was until the end of it. It was like kind of at the beginning, Hasbro seemed to give it some love and attention, and then at the end with the specials, it got some love and attention because they kind of realized, oh crap, we have a fan base and we don't really have any like media to put out right now. But there was this point in the middle where I think was probably good for the show, where they kind of got to do what they wanted and got to make what kind of ever they wanted. And we got some really cool storylines out of it, but it feels odd. Like, and I'll say this, there's a lot of times Cyberverse felt a little cheap. War for Cybertron is crappy as the storyline, and a lot of aspects of that show never felt really cheap. Earthspark does not feel cheap in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like the biggest budget they've had for a show in a while.
Yeah, I'd say since Prime.
Yep, I agree.
Since we're talking about the toys and like how we're, somewhat disappointed but somewhat happy about them at the same time, like I could buy the Warrior class Thrash. Like, I've seen the pictures of it and it actually looks pretty cool. Like, it looks better than most of their Warrior class figures does. I was surprised when it didn't say deluxe beside it. But what I'm kind of bummed about is that I always want the human, and there is a way in this first set of toys to get Mo, the little girl. She is a little tiny figure that comes with the giant chunk with action features Bumblebee.
Ooh.
So,
I didn't catch that.
Yep.
And anybody wants that Bumblebee and wants to send me that Mo.
Right. I'll take the little kid.
Maybe someone should just split them and sell them separately.
But I feel like sell her for 30 and you sell the Bumblebee for 10.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's
yeah.
I want to go with Ron's suggestion in the chat there and just wait for an Earthspark masterpiece Twitch.
We'll see in 40 years.
That.
You're more likely to get a 3-0 version that doesn't
We'll
transform.
see in 2 years for that.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. A third-party KO from Sir Toys.
That'll work too. So here's a thought. I mean, we haven't watched the whole thing, but like, do you think there will be a season 2? Like, do you think they're already planning a cycle like that?
I would guess
more
part B of
episodes
this season will drop in the spring.
Yeah.
Sorry, what? Catherine, what'd you say?
I would suspect part 2 of the first season would drop in the spring.
Yeah,
10 is a strange number.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I meant. Okay, so there's what going to be like.
Probably another 10 episodes.
24 or something. But that'll be season 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm saying, beyond that, do you think that they're gunning to do, like Cyberverse had 3 seasons and then a few other things, like, do you think they're already like, okay, this is the cycle, we're going to do season 1, season 2, season 3. It seems to me like they put a lot of effort into the creation of this show. Like, they got Nick Roach as the art director, and you can totally see his fingerprints all over the robot designs. That seems like he's a name that they were able to attach to this, and to me that seems like they're gonna go long, unless it bombs and they cancel it. I would assume that they have like a 3-year plan on this. That's just been the pattern for Transformers.
I would think so. They're spending a lot of time on world building. I don't see the point in doing world building if you're not going to build a world around it.
They could surprise us with a self-contained story that's only meant to go 1 season. Probably not, but
I feel like it's probably going to go like multiple seasons or years or whatever, just because like that. I feel like most Transformers shows end up going 3 years, right?
I was going to say, wouldn't it be crazy to get a Transformers series that went like 9 years? Like, for the first time ever, actually have a long Transformers series.
We do. That's called the Bayverse.
It's called Rescue Bots.
Rescue Bots was Rescue Bots 4 or 5 seasons.
And then Academy.
Academy's, I don't know. That's different.
Same world though, right?
It would sting a bit if this got renewed like a bunch, just to me, because again, I'm Mr. Botbot, and that it should be renewed. They left a lot of things to renew it on, but there's been no talk about it since it dropped.
I think that's more to do with Netflix, though.
I think you're right.
And that's probably a combination of Netflix and Hasbro and Paramount in terms of the relationship that you have.
But do you think that Hasbro would pull from Netflix and make BotBots be another thing on Paramount Plus?
Depends on how the wording is in their contract with Netflix.
Well, of course.
No.
Yeah. No?
I think the BotBots ship has sailed, Christian. We are... Series 6 is the Titanic for BotBots.
We just got new toys and a new price point.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Christian, you're getting a BotBot that's a cat that turns into a crazy old lady. Just be happy.
I'm very happy.
You got a poop bot too, right?
That's
multiple poop bots, right?
I'll take it.
Are any of these
there's a poop bot?
Are any of these new BotBots at retail, like, other than Amazon?
I think the retailers waved bye-bye to BotBots a long time ago. That's why they are not doing them anymore.
I mean, they're at various other online retailers, but not brick and mortar.
I'd be really surprised if we didn't see at least the blind packs around holiday shopping season showing up at stores.
Well, that's why I
blind
know if
packs are
there'd be
good
like
stocking
a shipper
stuffers.
At Walmart, like with the stocking stuffers.
Yeah.
Or something. I guess we'll see.
There just gotta be.
So what's interesting, just briefly about that, there's not a shipper now for the blind packs. They just come in a SIOC. They don't have the intricately designed shipper like they did for the previous waves.
Right, but what I'm saying is like, at Walmart where they have the stocking stuffers and they have a bunch of stuff in the middle that you can just pick up for like $1 a piece or whatever it is.
I remember picking up BotBots that way.
Right.
Yeah, they were in there. They were in those bins of stocking stuffer buys. So
I hope they're not gone
I just
forever,
kind of think
but
they will be.
They might be.
Ron says bot by. Christian, sorry.
So speaking of toys, I'm just perusing eBay real quickly right now. I'm mildly surprised that prices on hardtop have not jumped up.
Not yet.
You know,
Give it
yeah,
time.
not yet, but that would be one that in terms of a toy, like, hey, here's a character who has a toy pretty much exactly how he looks like in the cartoon. It's just a 13, 14-year-old toy, maybe like 18 years old at this point.
Good point, Phil.
Like Cyberverse
17. Is that math right? 2005. Yeah, 17. Ugh.
Yeah. So.
Is he just a swindle repaint in the show?
No, he looks like hardtop. He looks like Cybertron hardtop.
Wild.
Yeah.
He is. Swindle was a repaint.
He's Swindle's brother, is what they say. Which,
really?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So, yeah.
Not really spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they say that in the first 2 episodes.
I think they do. And they just refer to each other as brothers.
Yeah.
That's a thing in Cybertron too. Neither of them are on the show, but in the Cyberplanet key code you enter on the Hasbro site, that's part of their canon because they are repaints.
I did not know that.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I think if any series ever made them like actual family, this would be the series to do it, since it has that strong emphasis on family and children. I think it would actually like introduce them as actually being related in some pseudo genetic way.
Well, if they ain't family, they're at least family, right?
Hey, shout out to family.
Family.
Family. We don't want that. We might have that in this economy. Anyway.
Yes, in this economy, that's more likely.
Good. I got dark with our
I guess
self-referential
do we have
humor.
any other points to touch on the show at this point, or do we kind of?
Did anyone talk about the music?
No.
I enjoyed the music in the premiere quite a bit. It had a very Stranger Things, like 80s synth atmospheric kind of sentiment with music, which I enjoyed quite a bit. So it felt fitting, and again, it was kind of neat. Now that I think about it, I don't know, we get a little bit, we've got a little bit of that in Transformers history with Vince Cola, doing that with the Transformers movie with the first one. But yeah, it was in general, the production quality around the show felt really, really good, and the music part of that as well in a good way.
The voice acting's actually been good.
Yes.
Did they hire real people?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they did.
I believe so.
I heard about some of that.
Yeah. I mean, quite a few of these voice actors are, Optimus Prime and Megatron are Alan Tudyk, and I'm blanking on the name of the actor who does the voice of Megatron, but he was in Game of Thrones. Alan Tudyk is in like everything.
Including Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Yes, as a human character, not a voice. And so it's I don't know if this is because of the attachment of Paramount, but the Rescue Bots Academy and War for Cybertron trilogy move of going away from union voice actors, they've switched back. Nothing against the non-union voice actors. We know some of them. They're still good actors. They're still entertaining. This doesn't. Even the smaller characters don't feel like though they're like kind of throwaway voices. Which War for Cybertron, I'd say after you got past maybe the first half dozen or so characters, there was a hard time differentiating who was who when they were talking.
Yep.
The thing about Optimus having a different voice actor is he finally isn't trying to sound like Colin. Like, I feel like it's a really different sounding Optimus, and I like that. Like, his voice kind of took me off guard for a second because I was like, that's not how Optimus talks. And it was like, yeah, this isn't that Optimus. This is a different Optimus. Great. He isn't trying to sound like Peter Cullen. That's fine by me. Yeah, we haven't. It's been way too long.
Yeah, you definitely get some moments of levity from Optimus Prime in the first episode, which is
you can make jokes.
I think that's one of the things we said after the Netflix War for Cybertron trilogy. It's like it was so dark and so dour. There was like no humor in it, and finally, like we have a show that has humor. You know, it's
do these characters speak at normal speeds?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You don't need to watch this show on like 1.5 speed for it to, feel like it's good, well paced.
Today, Junior.
Yeah. You got Diedrich Bader as Mandroid's voice.
What?
Yes.
Dope.
Ron says it was Rory McCain that was the voice of Megatron. Yeah.
Yes, the Hound.
I do not know that actor.
Yeah.
But cool.
Yeah. And again, not trying to do a Frank Welker imitation either for his Megatron.
Oh, this is a very unique Megatron.
Yeah.
Very different, yeah. Gonna take some getting used to.
I do like him, though.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight after I talk to you guys.
There you go.
I will say, I
think
it's episode 3 that we get to see Megatron kind of in action a little bit more, and it's like, oh, this is a very badass Megatron. Like he can like level some floors, quite literally with how his cannon looks and feels. So there's definitely a sense of power that comes from the show. The animation has got a lot of fun fluidity to it.
Cool.
And Bumblebee can also use his stinger to make frittatas.
That's just handy.
Yeah.
I did want to mention that, Phil. Like, yeah, Megatron's cannon seems like significant. His weapon in this show.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool how it works. It's not just like it's almost like it has a stream of laser cannon, like a Shin Godzilla effect. Where it's like a fire hose of destruction. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. A fire hose of destruction. Just So
again, it's just neat to see something slightly different than what we're used to.
Yeah,
and that just makes me so happy that it's different. Like, I just cannot get over how happy I am that it's centering on new characters. And yeah, Optimus and Megatron and them are there, but the new characters are the show. They're what's going to make it unique. It's fun.
And I think a lot of the Transformer stuff that I can think of over the last 10 years of the newer medium that I've liked, stuff that's had a combination of giving us some attachment to the old plus giving us new stuff I've enjoyed. And even the stuff that's skewed younger. Like I will say, probably over the last 10 years up until this, the show I enjoyed the most was Rescue Bots. And that was a younger skewing show. It gave us new characters. I'm still clamoring for us to get more of Rescue Bots introduced into the mainstream a little bit more. This would be an interesting show to do that, where you can have like a Heat Wave as a is a fire engine bot somewhere. That would be fun to see. Heat Wave and Chase, Blades and Boulder.
So what did you think of the flashback stuff? And you know what I'm talking about when I say that? Like, it was reminiscent. It was either Armada or Animated, where they literally like took footage from G1 cartoons and put
Animated
it in.
Did it?
Yeah, okay, it was. When they're talking about the Great War.
Yep.
I
Armada
think they
pulled the character models and reused them, but yeah, Animated had actual footage.
Well, I like what they did here because they didn't do that exactly. They redrew some classic, frames and stuff from G1, but it was like just different enough where it was like Uncanny Valley, and it just like it was really confusing but awesome. But like I didn't know how to feel about it, and I should probably watch that segment again.
Right, but if you're not one of us and you just saw that for the first time, it's like, wow, I remember all of that. That's that perfect dad memory you're trying to invoke.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Like they don't need it to be pitch for pitch. Although the way they ran, like everybody just ran really funny in that.
They ran
flashback.
G1
Just,
intro style.
yes.
That
it
was just like
super.
the Seekers, like running right at the camera from the intro to the G1 cartoon.
I wouldn't mind getting that show. You know, it's like redo G1, but like in that art style, it'd be kind of fun.
Well, so I thought it ultimately. I thought it was great. Like I'm not like panning it at all. It was. I thought it was funny. You know, like I think it was meant to be kind of funny to like to people like us. Supposed to be like you know, but does this mean? I'm a little confused. Does this mean that? Is that G1 Optimus and Elita 1 and Megatron and Bumblebee?
No.
It's close, but it's not.
So that those flashbacks are a different universe than what it's depicting. It's like alternate
it's like they're
universe
telling
G1.
a story.
Oh, really?
It's like it's like a storybook. So like if you read a storybook historical account of something that happened to us, clearly it didn't look like it was drawn. It's just a depiction of what happened.
At this point, they're more treating it as, yeah, there was a war, some stuff happened, don't worry about the details.
So I think there's two ways you can look at it. One way is that the person who's telling that story is a human who did not experience it themselves. So they might not be a reliable storyteller in this regard. So this could be a continuation of the G1 universe, which was rumored before the show started. But again, that would be indicative of that. You know, so I'll go into some detail. They talk about the Transformers arrived on Earth at first through the space bridge. This wasn't the Ark crashing into prehistoric Earth, and the Nemesis crashing into prehistoric Earth, and them being in stasis for millenniums. You know, it was basically they arrived on Earth in the 80s, it sort of seems like, through the space bridge. And so that, and then like Elita 1 was on Earth right away from what they depicted. Again, the person telling the story is a human who wasn't really there, so it might not be accurate. But if that is the case, we have a origin that's similar to G1, but not exactly the same.
And they have already established that there's at least some fiction about Transformers in their world. They showed comic books, and that establishes like there could also be a cartoon, right? That could have literally been scenes from their version of the cartoon that aired on their TV. They could have made a cartoon about the Great War, and they just used the G1 character models because that way it doesn't look too much like Megatron and Optimus, just a little bit.
I hope they use that style again in the show, almost to like, if it's like an unreliable narrator sort of thing, like they show us a memory from different people and it's like slightly different, you know, so it just kind of shows like this is not the real story, like this is not actually what happened, it's a fictitious or biased view of history. Which
I imagine we're going to have to get some flashbacks. We probably have to find out why Megatron and how Megatron came to be in the status that he is now. Why Bumblebee was in hiding for things like decades.
I think so.
So there's things that I don't know if they will flesh out. I don't know if they'll do it this season or if there are things they'll just sort of say like, hey, this is what it is, and you know, sure, maybe some comic book will tell that story. You know, once the new license holder of that gets that book, and there'll be an Earthspark, you know, Transformers comic.
It's just funny when that scene came out, right? Like when people started seeing that scene and sharing it, people were just freaking out in the fandom. You know, they were like, is this the new G1 canon? How dare they make these changes? And like you had to like literally go to those people and point out all the plot holes so they could sleep that evening. Because they were just like, no, they've changed my G1. It's like, okay, no, this isn't that. It's different. All right, here's your plot holes. Go to bed.
Don't be dumb, people. Like I saw that at the same time you guys did. I never once thought it was going to be like, oh, the new G1. Like, no. I never thought that at all. I immediately went to the thing and animated.
Why would we even want more G1? It's its own thing.
And it did. I've been trying to understand the G1 timeline lately. It's way past 2022 and stuff they've made in the G1 timeline, and it's very confusing.
Yeah, no, the G1 timeline was not meant to be solvable. Yeah, because those were very much cartoons written for kids where, sure, you had some canon that was built, but you also had a lot of contradictory stuff.
Because Master Force took place around now.
Well, that's not. We're not even talking about getting into the Japanese stuff. I'm talking even just purely what was, in season 1 through 3. So I don't know. I know.
The movie takes place in 2005. That's what we know.
What's that?
Transformers the movie takes place in 2005.
Yeah, exactly.
The distant future. Ooh.
The distant future.
Hoverboards.
That was the first thing I did in the year 2005, New Year's Day. I watched Transformers the movie.
There you go.
I was like, it's now.
It is the year.
I thought you were going to say you got on your hoverboard and fell down.
I watched. I was like, it's the year 2005. It's now.
Ron again pointed out something important, that the town's name is Witwicky. Witwicky, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, East Coast? It never takes place on the East Coast.
Well,
Cool.
I would, if it's Western Pennsylvania, I wouldn't say it's East Coast.
Hey, it's Eastern time zone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They always take place in like Nevada or the desert.
Right.
Well, because those are cheap.
At one time, it was in Detroit.
Yeah.
The desert.
Where does Prime take place? It's in Nevada, right?
I think so.
The desert of Nevada.
Robots in Disguise was very much like.
Robots in Disguise is in Tokyo, I think, or nearby.
Well,
Yeah,
the
it's
newer
originally.
Robots in Disguise.
Oh, sorry.
Was in maybe the desert again.
Maybe the desert again.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I had kind of forgotten about the second Robots in the Sky show, and I just started thinking about it tonight because, you had the human character, you had similar things to what's going on in this show, but I don't know, like that never really stuck with me that much. That never really held my interest that much. The problem with that show is the human characters were so slapstick and used for cheap laughs. Never really any emotional impact, whereas this show, it does have emotional impact and everything. So it's just a lot better show. I mean, they've marketed this on like my Facebook feed. Apparently Facebook thinks I like Transformers for some reason, because I'm in 20 Facebook groups. So I get been getting a lot of Earthspark ads in my feed, and a lot of it has been like, watch this with your family. And I think they've really done a good job of making a show that my son and I could both sit there and easily watch and be entertained. And I think, again, Anna, to your point, for folks who haven't really experienced Transformers for 30, 40 years, they experience with their kids, they'll watch that flashback scene and like, I remember this. Yeah, this is exactly how it was. And they'll Mandela effect that's exactly how G1 looked.
And good for them.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why some people would be fearful that they're going to try and erase G1. I mean, I don't think you really can, but, Star Wars did that. Disney said, like, hey, all the legend stuff, all this other stuff, it's not canon anymore. It didn't really happen. So it wouldn't have been the first time that a major corporate entity just said, forget everything you heard before, because we're just erasing it because it's not convenient for our storytelling.
That's mostly only applicable, though, if Transformers was one big timeline.
It never has been.
It's not. It's a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
Whenever someone mentions the Transformers canon, I always say there isn't a Transformers canon. There's a bunch of them.
I so wish there was, though. Just like a story that like continued for a long, long time. But the IDW comics is the best, is the closest we've ever gotten to that. You know,
That
it's
are
like
the
10
Marvel
years.
comics in the 80s.
Yeah, but that went against every other continuity that existed at the same. I feel like that's different because the stakes were different then.
Yeah.
And then it went against
I see.
itself once you had to spin off of the British stuff versus the U.S. stuff.
Yep.
Right.
So,
It was just
yeah.
it was complete bedlam, you know, back then.
Yeah.
And that's probably why we're in the situation we are now. It's like, well, why bother? Why care? Because we're still here and we messed it up royally already. Like, what damage can we do?
And Paul, to your point, like the longest running time-wise continuity we've got with Transformers is the movie universe. And even that's contradicted itself.
Wow.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Paul would be like Monkey's Paw, that we're like, all right, we're just going to go with the movie universe, and that's it.
I mean,
Yeah, there's your canon.
Uh,
I mean, the sad thing about that is it's so bad already. Like it's the same situation.
yeah, that's true.
It's a bummer because you really can't. There's no way to fix that, you know. So it's like why? It's like complaining about scale in Transformers. And like, what are you doing, you fool? Like, just let it go.
But like, let's face it. So many of the media that's out there that does have a continuity has contradicted itself so many times. Like, if you look at like comic books, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Yeah, I know they're different universes, all that. But it's just like, how many times would New York have been leveled? How many times over, you know, how old would Batman and Superman and Spider-Man have to be given all the, you know, things that they've experienced in those books? Like, it's just, there's nothing that's out there that's got a really pure canon. I think the closest thing we have are some of the smaller contained stuff like Harry Potter and Star Wars. But those universes are much more tightly controlled. Even the MCU has got stuff that's contradictory because it's like, oh, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. part of this? Kind of not really anymore.
Well, again, just going to repeat things I say all the time. Transformers is a toy first brand. All those other ones are fiction first.
Right.
And so they have, like, to them, the story is paramount. For Transformers, it's literally the third thing on the list, probably.
For Transformers, the story is on Paramount.
Yeah.
Oh! All right, folks, good night. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
So Paul, you mentioned before that there was something you wanted to discuss at the end of the show. What was that?
Oh, just moving and some thoughts. I was waxing poetic on bin life today and just thought I would share some of my thoughts and see what you guys think. Because what I'm moving house right now, and any Transformers collector will tell you, like, that's the worst thing you can do ever. Because we tend to amass mass quantities of plastic. Like, I filled a bin, one of my large bins, 50-gallon bin, last night, and I asked my wife to help me carry it up the stairs. And she's like, sure. And then she picks it up and she's like, Jesus Christ! It's probably 80 to 100 pounds of solid plastic in there. You know, just like, when you think of Transformers in poundage instead of like number of figures, you've really got to rethink your strategy at that point. But I guess so yeah, moving sucks. Everyone knows that. No, that's not the point. But what was and still is kind of fun is when you have so much stuff that you forget about things, and you get to like re-engage with it. It's like Christmas. It's like opening all these toys that you already have opened, but you haven't seen in so long you forget. And it's kind of a wonderful experience. Makes it, even though moving all the stuff sucks, it's kind of like, ooh, like this is a surprise. I forgot about this. I mean, and then it all comes rushing back. You're like, oh yeah, I remember buying this and whatever, because there's all these memories attached to these toys. But I wanted to. Everyone makes fun of me for bin life, but like, I also pulled out some bins that I had in the back and opened those up, and it's just like, yeah, I have all these. It's like you don't need to go buy new ones. You just hide your old ones long enough, and you bring them out, and it's like you got them all over again, and it's kind of magical. It's really great, and that is why I will always advocate bin life. Because you just, when I finally go through all my bins, it's gonna be an awesome time, and it's gonna take months, but it's gonna be fun, and like that's why I've been sharing photos in the chat group, because I'm just not because I don't know, just like this is fun for me. I want to share this with you guys, whether it's interesting or not. But like, I totally forgot that I have an oversized KO of, I think it's MP12 or MP11, whatever the second Starscream or the 1.5 Starscream was. I have an oversized knockoff of that in MP3 colors, which is just crazy. Like, you could never find that thing today. Let me grab it.
Whoa.
It's big.
Wow.
This thing is insane.
I'd like to get an actual 3 one day in those colors. That thing's wild.
It
is
is
like one of the
crazy
things from recent years.
And this just seems like, I mean, this is I guess, Anna, what I've realized in the past 48 hours, I have way more third-party stuff than I should for as much shit as I give it.
Of course you do.
I have bins worth of third-party stuff.
That thing's
Oh my
wild.
God, we're so surprised.
Because in the end, Paul, like the rest of us, you like good toys. You just like to pretend that you ignore them.
Well, I mean, I do give credit where credit's due sometimes, but it's so easy to call bullshit on most of it. I mean, clearly this should not exist, but the fact that it does, like, well, sometimes I'll take it. Look at his smirk. Can you even see it? It's like kind of bizarre.
Dark hair.
Yeah, I know. But this is huge. This is like 1.5 times the size of the real one. I don't even know what to do with it.
Did you see there's an oversized knockoff coming out of the Siege Jetfire?
I did, and I was like, ooh, that would be pretty cool. But like, you know what? The original is cool enough for me. I don't need that big piece of crap. So.
Yep.
But
The
that'd be
original's
cool.
pretty damn big.
Yeah.
I was
it's supposed to be the same size as Fans
KO.
Toys. It's supposed to be the same size as Fans Toys Phoenix, which I don't quite understand, because if you want that toy to go with your Fans Toy scale stuff, the plastic quality is going to look totally different.
Right.
Phoenix is a great toy. You want that? Go get
It's
that.
like what they did. They did those oversized knockoffs of the movie Grimlock, and I think, was it Scorn was the other one? They made the really big ones.
No,
And
Blackout, and Grimlock.
And Scorn.
And Scorn? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But they were like $90 KOs, but they were ridiculously massive and they were good. It's just like, it feels so weird to spend good money on a KO is a weird thing, even for a KO collector.
Right.
Well, I also have that completely chromed gold oversized MP8. What a weird thing. It's insane that I already put it away, or I'd show it, but like...
Which one's MP8?
I didn't know they did a good with that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It's just all chrome. Every piece of that thing is chromed gold. And I think, if I remember correctly, it was like $80, like a few years ago. So...
I don't even remember.
I have the oversized of Grimlock, but not a gold one.
Yeah, I don't remember the gold one.
I mean, it was by Winbow, Crinbow, whatever, Jown. I don't know, some weird, third level company of a shadow company that just has a factory. Who knows?
So,
but I guess Christian, you just moved, right? Or are in the process?
He's in the process.
So, I mean, do you have any related personal discoveries of rediscovering stuff or anything? How's your move going?
I mean, my toys have been packed for several months now. I had someone move into my toy room, so that was a while ago. Nothing new to discover, though.
So the question is going to be, is who will fully unpack first? Like,
me.
Peter, Christian, Paul, me. I'm still, not unpacked.
Yeah, I'm glad you added Peter to the mix because he's made it very vocal that he is still not unpacked from moving a year plus back.
Right.
Everything goes according to plan. I'll be unpacked by summer.
I don't plan to unpack everything. I'm actually kind of attempting to turn a new leaf here and kind of take Rob's approach, where if you can't display it, spray it. Get rid of it.
I'm going to get halfway there. That's the plan.
Rob's the only person who does that. No one else does that.
Yeah,
We all
The
say
place
it.
I got does not have the Omega toy room. It has the middle toy room. So we're getting there. There'll be more display space than I've ever had, but not so much to display at all.
If I were to bet, I would say Christian would be the first one to unpack.
Yep.
Thanks, friend.
I mean, you are a single guy living on your own. You don't have
That's true.
to accommodate for other family members.
I have a cat.
Yeah. Oh, cats will knock toys over, but Transformers stand up better than most.
The cat just meows at you. You don't actually have to take action. When your child is crying, you kind of need to do something or the police come. So, packing always takes a backseat.
Yeah, my packing will start in full tomorrow or this weekend.
I don't know if you can see it, but that is a black Xeric in that glass case, like a G1 black Xeric. I don't know how I'm going to move that thing. I think I'm going to hold it.
you get stuff like that. You got to hold and take over.
Yeah, I mean,
that's more carefully than you moved it before.
Just let your wife move for you.
Yeah. Well, that's not the one that fell out of the box.
I was gonna say, you already dropped one ball, so
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah,
that's why I got two.
Sorry, honey, Myra can't come on this trip. I need her car seat for my toy.
I mean, because I don't want to take it out. I'm not putting it back in the box. I mean, that's the best move, is put it back in the box. But you got to put it back into Scorpion mode, and that plastic made some sounds I never want to hear again, and so it's staying in robot mode. Like the foot, the foot's gold, and it's on those weird hinges when it turned, and it went it was the sound of the Grim Reaper's scythe, is what I think it was, like scraping on, like him sharpening it. It was my first paranormal experience into death, and so I don't want to go there again.
It's very descriptive. You painted a wonderful word picture.
Yeah,
you got me at that one.
Thank you. I'm pretty good. Or I'm trying to be better at that. So. I don't know.
Maybe we'll do another moving show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also moving. I'm doing two moves. I'm moving. We're talking about my collection, but I also have inventory that I have to move to a separate location. So I'm trying to keep my personal separate from my business side, and that is going to be challenging, to be honest. It's always difficult. So I don't know. I could talk about that later when I figure it out and share some things. But we're all growing up a little bit, and so you got to change your collecting habits for the hopefully better. And I'm trying. Yeah. I haven't broken anything yet.
Just your heart.
Just my bank.
Well, that's always broken. It never really fully heals.
Oh, I know.
Not in this economy.
I mean, I'll tell you what. This is why I was talking to Anna today, but this is why I case things, is for moving. Just because
Yeah, it's easier to
just moving.
You just pack those.
As careful. You can put all these in a box, and they're gonna be fine. But like, as careful as you want to be when you have hundreds of toys or hundreds of pieces, like there's wear on your psyche at some point. You can't spend 5 minutes on every piece. Like, I don't bubble wrap every single piece and put them in a bin. I've seen people do that, and I'm like, that's literally insane. I'll put like levels of like bubble wrap and like stack them and like literally cram them in there, but like carefully. But things can break along the way just from pressure and just whatever. But you just live with it.
Just the way things are. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't save them all. You can do your best.
But the box stuff, you do this so you can be willy-nilly and, you hopefully won't break anything.
I just want to see Paul start juggling a bunch of graded toys.
See me what?
I want to see you start juggling a bunch of boxed and graded toys. Look, you can do this, and they're fine.
Probably not.
And break another Black's Eric. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Mentioned book club this week is going to be Lost Light issues 15 and 16. So, and then next week is going to be Earthspark discussion. So there you go.
Going to be deep in spoilers next week beyond the first 2 episodes.
There we are.
Spoil me, Daddy.
So sign up for your free week of Paramount Now.
Yeah. Go watch it.
Or ask your friend who's got it for their password.
Right.
Care about our opinions.
Pretty much watch everything on there in a week that's worth watching.
I don't know. My kids like the Paw Patrol stuff.
Stay there.
Well, NCIS, I mean, it's just not going to watch itself.
Right.
Well, no, I think it does. I think that show gets ratings because this audience falls asleep with the TV on, and it's
They just don't turn on the "Are you still watching this?" for that particular show. They're just like, keep it running.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Raise your flag and go old school. So I don't know what that means. Thank you.
Pirate it.
Oh,
he's referring to piracy.
Yes. Sorry, too late. And thank you to
Too
everyone
slow.
in the chat. Thanks to Zaldron, to Ron, to let's see who else we got. Adam Bomb,
Cassetticon tune.
Is that it?
I pray for the day where we actually have enough fans where we don't have to play this game where you read all the comments and figure out who's watching it.
Hey, you know what? I like doing it, even if you get 100 people in here or whatever.
That's great.
It's fine.
If you get 100 people,
we'll challenge you.
It'll be the last 10 minutes of the show is Lucas like, Jenkins Prime. I mean, it's nice that we do it. I'm sure the listeners appreciate it. I'm just making fun.
So I don't know.
Thank you for watching us, everyone.
I appreciate people participating with the show and all that and commenting. So
yeah, it's great.
Don't forget to smash that like button.
Hulk smash that like button. Grimlock smash that like button. Right. Kick butt.
Good night, everyone.
Well, thanks,
see you
guys.
next week,
we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.